Now, we will be taking a Q&A from the audience. You will see a very lovely lady in a bright green shirt raising her hand and walking over around this side. If you have a question, we'll get to a couple of them, and you will want to find her. But I do have to tell you guys, no questions about Firefly or Terminator or anything like that. I'm kidding, I'm totally kidding. You know, it's a terrible joke, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Summer, you're at Stan Lee's Comikaze. I mean, conventions can be kind of nuts. What do you think about this incredibly growing phenomenon of nerd culture kind of taking over the world?
It doesn't get boring.
I mean, when the crowd looks like this.
Yeah, it's wonderful. As an actor, it's just a very special way to come face to face with the people who let you live out your dreams, you know, of being part of these stories. It's great to be able to say thanks for the support and thanks for making a way for me like you have for all these years.
There is definitely no more excitable and passionate fan base than there is in the nerd community. Am I right, guys?
Yeah. It's true.
Now, if I were to write a biography about you, I think the title would be From Ballerina to Badass. Talk to us a little bit about kind of growing up in that you know, all that ballerina kind of world, and how did that impact when you started getting into making films and television and playing these incredibly strong and cool characters?
It was an accident, but it was a happy accident. I was a dancer and I was injured. It's a long story, but basically...
Well, your first episode on Angel was you were being a ballerina, is that correct?
That's correct, which is funny because when I first moved to LA, I was dancing, but I wanted to I just had this feeling like maybe I could act. I just had a feeling, and I started going on auditions, and my manager told me just never talk about being a dancer because they won't think you're a real actress. And then it sort of unexpectedly, I snuck into a callback for Angel. I missed the dance audition. It was for to play the ballerina and Reading in the Wings, and I missed the dance audition and got into the callback somehow, and Joss was there, and I didn't know what he looked like, so I didn't know who he was, and I read for him, and he cast me without seeing me dance, and it turned out that I actually was a professional dancer, and that changed my life. And from there, he let me audition for Firefly, which was the first ever I'd auditioned for that big of a role, you know, a series regular in the show, and that changed my life. And
how was that? Did the physicality of the dance training help going into these really kind of cool physical roles that you've now kind of really made your thing?
Absolutely. I think being a dancer, it is, you know, it's an expression, and it is an art like acting, but the difference is that when you're on stage, you know, you don't use your voice, and you don't communicate in that way, and you look out and you just see darkness. So you know that you're being watched, and you are communicating, but there's a safety about it to me. And so when I became an actor, trying to use my voice was very uncomfortable and kind of scary. And I'm a little bit, I don't want to say shy, but maybe just not as comfortable in that way. So in the beginning, when I tried to connect to my characters, it was easier for me to do it through my physicality first. And especially with River, I sort of waded into the water that way.
And heck of a splash. And then you go from River, you're playing a Terminator. Great role in Knights of Badassdom. And anyone fans of Knights of Badassdom out there? How did the training differ for those characters physically? And going into Knights of Badassdom, did you have to do anything different, I guess, than what you did on Serenity in terms of learning some of the weapons and things?
Yes, LARPing is dangerous. It's dangerous because you have to just, there's no choreography. That was what was uncomfortable for me because I went from, when I did Serenity, they designed the fight scenes as if it was a dance for me because I was a dancer. So the stunt coordinator, Chaz Stahelski, who's just a genius and trained me to do those fight scenes myself. Hey little buggy, I don't like you on me. Excuse me. He taught me how to do the fight scenes from start to finish, and it was choreographed down to the head movement. It was like dance, and then when I did Terminator, it was slightly different, but still choreographed. And then with LARPing, they sent us to our first LARPing rehearsal, and it was just a free-for-all, and the most diabolical one won. And I couldn't, I thought, I guess my strategy would be running for the exit. And so I was glad that our weapons were foam.
And it's really funny because you play some pretty like serious characters, but you have really awesome comedic timing and that kind of classic straight man role. Do you ever get offers to do any projects in that kind of realm, or is that a direction you'd like to go?
I'm uncomfortable with trying to be funny. It was
when I
really thank you. I don't see myself that way, and one of the only times I've ever done comedy was trying to play myself on Big Bang Theory, and they said just act natural, just be yourself. And I'm like, but I'm not funny. Tell me how to be funny. And I learned a lot being on set with those guys because they're at the top of their game. They're brilliant, and I spent most of my time just trying not to ruin the takes with laughing. But I love comedy. In my personal life, that's what I tend to watch.
Do you have a favorite comedy film?
Yes. What's Up, Doc? It's
All right.
My ultimate.
So, a lot of fun projects. You work with obviously a lot of great groups of people. I mean, the Big Bang guys look like they have a ton of fun. Knights of Badassdom looks like that was incredible. And then all those years and that deep connection with the whole Firefly Serenity crew. Tell us about kind of what some of your favorite memories or what was the most fun within that kind of genre.
With what specifically?
So what was like if you were to pick one project that was just the most fun to be a part of?
Being a Terminator is pretty fun, I have to say. Throwing cars, throwing stunt guys, smashing things. It just doesn't get old. I miss it.
And now, being a part of that has brought you here to Comikaze and I'm sure to other conventions all around the world. Do you have any interesting or fun interactions with some of the passionate fans out there?
Every time. I love, there's been some incredible fan art.
Cool.
I think cross-stitched river. I have a cross-stitched river that I got my very first year. And I keep it in my memory box, and I just look at it and say, wow, you're a cross-stitch.
That and I imagine probably seeing people cosplaying as your characters.
Yes, a lot of good ones today on Halloween. It's an honor.
Do you have a favorite costume that you've worn out of all the really cool stuff that you've done?
You know what was not my favorite costume? I can tell you that.
That's good too.
You know that green bodysuit I had to wear at the beginning of Serenity with the latex bib? Not forgiving. Just not. I couldn't. No.
Let's see. Where is our audience question person? Let me see. There's the hand. Do you have a line going? We have some questions. So she's right there. If you guys have a question for Summer, right back there in the middle of the audience, you guys can head back.
I just wanted to know if you had a favorite action sequence in any of your roles.
Oh, it's a hard. You know, thank you for asking that. It would have to be one of my big fight scenes from Serenity because I worked so hard to try to do them myself, and Joss wanted me to do them from start to finish as if it was a dance, so that you could see that it was really me and it wasn't just different camera angles. So I think the bar fight was a little bit more fun, but the sword and the axe with the reavers was more like ballet, and so I think that would be my favorite. Yes.
And that pose, by the way, the final pose when the doors open back up and the blood is dripping off of the axes as she's decimated the reavers, is probably like one of the just coolest moments in sci-fi. And speaking of, so sci-fi was kind of a male-dominant thing for a very long time, and you're iconic for playing these amazingly strong female characters in science fiction-driven vehicles. How does that feel to really be someone that is expanding the conversation about the prevalence and the viability of that kind of role in Hollywood?
It's been a privilege for me, and it's been a blessing to you know, as an actor, you read a lot of material, and there are certain roles that you read them and you just are automatically connected, and I felt that way with River, and I felt that way with Cameron, and others. I've had other strong.
Isabel Roshek on Arrow, Ravager, another very, very strong before the mask and after the mask.
You know, I also like that I'm not really a tough girl, and I don't think that you have to be an empowered woman. I think that one thing that often I hear in my work is that I come across with a certain vulnerability, and yet I've played girls that can hold their own and can kind of come in at the last minute and save the day. And I love that women can be represented that way, that they're both, you know, that they can be strong and they can be vulnerable at the same time, and they can have the answers, and they can also really be kind of kooky, as I have often been.
And I would imagine at some point you're getting, you know, fan mail maybe of changing young women's lives, you who are growing up watching you and going, oh, I could do that. I've
been so blessed, and I save those letters because they help me. It means a lot to me that I've been able to be there in some way, that character that I've played has been a message to someone, meant something to them, and that they've carried it with them. It's one of the great joys of being an actor.
That's awesome. I'm going to throw it back out to the audience question. We have a Jane in the audience with a question.
Do you keep souvenirs from the films you work on? And if so, what did you take home from Serenity?
It's so funny, when we first started doing panels after Serenity came out, this was a question that was asked, and I was shocked at how many of my castmates had stolen things off the set, because I was new and I followed the rules, and they told me not to take anything, so I didn't.
You didn't hang out enough with Nathan because that guy is a goofball that'll get away with everything.
He likes to lift, yeah, he's good.
She doesn't mean lift like that.
Well, maybe, I don't know, he probably does. But yeah, I over the years, every once in a while I'll take things, but I'm a real rule follower, I gotta tell you.
All right, let's go back out to the next question over there.
Hello. Hi, Summer. I was just wondering, is there a genre that you haven't been involved with that you'd be interested in?
Well, when I first became an actress, I wanted to do period films, and I tried, but somehow I got sucked into this universe and kind of never left, and I've loved it, you know. And once you start getting to do the stunts and playing these bigger than life characters and bigger than life situations, it's just really, really fun. And I haven't gotten back to my original dream, which was, you know, being in a Jane Austen movie.
It's neat though, because you still managed to work in some ballet into these really totally different from ballet kind of situations and characters.
I have. I wouldn't change it for anything. It's been amazing. But yes, I wanted to. I've done a Western, which was one of my goals, and I wanted to be in a Lifetime movie since I was a kid, and I got to do that. Yes. And a Hallmark Christmas movie, I did that. I really wanted to do these things, so I've been lucky, but yes, I'd like to try to do a British accent and be in a like.
Have you worked on that? Do you have one you could share?
No, I'm still working on it.
All right, we'll go back out to another question in the crowd.
What was your favorite episode of filming Firefly?
Where are you? Oh, hi. My favorite episode was Objects in Space. Because I was a supporting character and I was new and I wasn't often on set every day of an episode, and this was an episode where I was there for the whole thing. It was really exciting for me, and Joss directed it, and I got to spend a lot of time with him, and it was just it was like a beautiful dream. I love it. I think it's really special.
Was there anything, other than scope, but was there anything different when you guys came back together to film Serenity from where you had left off doing Firefly?
I had to go to stunt rehearsal for like 8 hours a day. That was different, but everything else we were concerned that coming back, it would take a while for us to get that rhythm back, because we had that really special really special rapport, and it was a while before we did the movie. So I know, for me, I worried, will it be the same? But it absolutely was as soon as we got back together.
That seems like it. A lot of us are fans of some series that we felt should have had a much longer life, but I feel like the Firefly fan base is maybe the most passionate about that, and that Firefly really had a great formula there to go on, and then Serenity was successful, so that was really, really cool. Would you like to see Joss reopen that universe?
Well, I want it for everybody that wants it, but the sweetest thing about life is that it changes and that it doesn't last, and there's something beautiful about the story and about the moment and about the fact that it was so special and then it was gone, and I don't know if it would be the same if we had it back again. Well, you're back, little friend. So I don't know. I kind of want to protect that and protect what it is. But then I also want to see what River would do when she's grown up, and see if she see what she would do next.
As the new pilot of Serenity.
Yeah.
That could have been fun.
And she might have a few sportier spaceships on the side that she flies on the weekends, or who knows. It'd be fun.
That'd be cool. So a thing that I always love about getting together and have worked on some fun projects, who was the best practical joker on any of the cast that you've been a part of?
Nathan.
Probably not surprising to anybody, right? Do you have any fun moments, ways he got you or got somebody else on cast in a fun way?
Well, I mean, I don't know if any of y'all have heard the summer joke he started, but if you think that's funny, I guess
It's warm in here one?
sense of humor.
It's warm in here one?
No. He started, well, I guess I started it because it was my fault originally, but we were doing this very long, beautiful take where the camera was going through the entire ship and everybody had their line and it was beautifully choreographed and it was a oneer and I was the very last person in the scene to talk and you know we had done the very first take and everybody had done their line perfectly and worked their way through the ship and then the camera came around to me and I forgot to say my line. And so way in the front of the ship I could hear Nathan go, Summer! And so everybody thought that was funny and then he started doing it when I wasn't in the scene and when I wasn't on set and when I wasn't in the episode and then he started doing it on other sets where I wasn't even in the show. And
are they yelling that in Castle? Did that catch on? They're yelling Summer?
I don't know, you know, I haven't
You should sneak on the set and find out. You should get it back.
You can't get back. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. You know, you heard what he did to the monkey. Did you hear what he did to the monkey?
I didn't hear about the monkey.
Well, he maimed this poor monkey and mailed his thumb back to his owner. And it was a stuffed monkey. It wasn't a real monkey.
I was about to say, I think PETA is calling him up right now.
But anyway, you don't want to try to mess with Nathan in his own game.
All right, we've got time for about 1 or 2 more questions. We're going to throw it back out there.
Hi, how's it going?
Hi.
Hello. My question is, if there was one big thing in the Firefly universe, would you change anything?
Would I change anything about the Firefly universe?
Yeah, like one significant instance, like Wall Street.
Guys, get over it. No! It was 10 years ago. He's gone.
He's never gone. He can always come back, or he can have a twin brother. I really enjoy being the pilot, so I can't say necessarily.
Someone send that to Alan immediately.
No, I wouldn't change anything. It's perfect like it is. I wouldn't change anything. I mean, maybe I wish that River had some shampoo in the pilot episode. Her hair needed work, but I got some shampoo in episode 2, so.
Awesome. All right, one more question from the audience.
I'm right here. How you doing? I wanted to know do you have a favorite character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And if you were to join the Marvel Cinematic Universe, what character would you want to be? Preferably X-23, but you know, let me know what you think.
Whenever I ask that seems to be a popular one. I'll you know, I feel like I'm not even qualified to answer this question because it is such a passionate debate. So I'll go with X-23, or you know, somebody in the background, maybe a secretary of some kind or a taxi driver.
Psylocke, anyone? Did you read any of the comic background before you did Isabel Rocha, Monero?
I did, but they veered. You know, they kind of crafted the character differently for the series. And she ended up being a little bit different than I wanted to wear those goggles. I kept asking them to let me wear the goggles. I also wanted a Russian accent, and they wouldn't let me do Russian.
Is that one in the repertoire?
I did it for Angel.
Right.
My very first job, and I asked Joss if I could do it. I originally, when I first auditioned, I did it with an American accent, and then he called me back in.
Can we get a little bit of it?
Can you do it with an accent? And yeah, you mean the Russian?
Yeah, let's hear a little Russian.
Well, I mean, I remember a line from Terminator that I did in Russian, and I just got back from Russia, so I can do that one.
Let's go for it.
Я могу також строить, что ты будешь никогда не будешь танцевать. It means something something really threatening, like I'm gonna castrate you or something.
Is there a sniper in that window trained on me right now? Am I safe?
Yeah, but anyway, I ended up doing Russian for my very first job, and now I would be scared to do that. When you're young, you're caring.
I am really sure that you could absolutely nail that if you got called in for that. I think you'd be awesome.
Thanks.
Guys, Summer Glau, everybody! Now, Summer, if you wouldn't mind a little tradition here at Comikaze, we're going to take the audience stage selfie right up here, so everyone is going to get in this picture real quick. All right. First, we're going to get the stage right. That's house left for those of you at home. Right there, everyone smile. And now we'll go center stage. And over there. Awesome. You guys can find that at the hashtag Comikaze2015. And I'll make sure I tweet it out. You can follow my stuff at Nerds Like Us, Instagram and Twitter. We'll get that out. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Summer Glau. Thanks so much for joining us, Summer.